Good morning, YouTube. I just wanted to give a quick review on the 60 watt eBay style laser. Uh, I've done a few upgrades to it. Just want to run through them quick and give you my thoughts on what you got. First off, let me start by saying I've probably got 25 years of experience with these CO2 lasers, commercial ones, not these 60 watt ones. Coherent, Rolfin, Sinrad, all the commercial CO2 lasers I work on. Basically, I've got a wood shop as a hobby because I get a lot of time off from my job. So I use this to put logos, my company logo on my drawer boxes. These happen to be bottoms for wine boxes I make. We got a ton of wineries in the area. Here's some of the company logos from other customers, some of my customers. These wine boxes. These aren't sanded, aren't finished. I just put them together so you can see them. Okay, let's start off with, this is a 60 watt, like I said. This is the original tube that came with it. It lasted approximately 8 working hours. We had a very harsh, hot, humid summer here in central New York this year, which was awesome. But CO2 laser tubes, whether they're commercial sealed tubes, the metal tubes, or glass tubes, it really beats them up if you have high humidity. So you really need to, if you got one of these, partition off a part of wherever you got it. Keep it in an air-conditioned environment so your humidity's down. Number 2 must, probably the most important, should be number 1, is the chiller. I've upgraded to a light to object chiller just because it was probably the cheapest one I found that was good quality. That was the original one I bought, not reading it close enough to realize it wasn't refrigerated. It said it was rated for an 80 watt tube, but it's not. Even with the 60 watt tube in the summertime, I was running 30 degrees C on just about any job, and that is way too hot for a CO2 laser. So don't waste your money on that one. Step up, get yourself a better quality chiller. One that's refrigerated. It must be refrigerated because you got to keep it right around 22 degrees C max. So before I bought anything for this laser, I bought the laser originally not knowing how it was gonna arrive, how it was gonna work. If it was just a total piece of junk, I didn't want to put any more money into it. However, I got it, and I could not believe the control system on it and the stepper system, how well it worked. It actually works better than my CNC. That's 4x8 CNC I use. I build it myself, but I put all high-end stuff in it. I use it every day for my cabinet making stuff. But this guy here, the one advantage of this controller is if you have a power outage, and I accidentally tested it with a storm in the summer, it'll automatically go to where it stopped. After, it'll automatically rehome once it powers up again. It'll go right back to the origin that you had it set for originally, and then go right back to the last place it started, stop cutting, and ask you whether or not you want to cut again from that spot. You can't beat that. So once I saw that the laser was motion control worked well, then I went ahead and I ordered the upgraded tube. Now I upgraded to a Puri tube. 80 watt. I could have went bigger, but I didn't. I stuck with the 80 watt tube. And when I upgraded the tube, I also used Light to Object out of Sacramento, California. I bought their beam combiner, and that's been a godsend because I'm used to the easy way of the commercial lasers. All have the diode lasers built into the shutters, the good quality ones, so you haven't got to spend 3 hours aligning your mirrors because you can see the path of the laser and where it's hitting with a diode laser. So that's the advantage of the beam combiner. You can see I have the laser pointers there. I'm not running the exhaust, so you can see the laser path. You can see it there. I don't know if I've ever seen that in a YouTube video, except for the laser light. So I didn't run the exhaust, so you can see the laser path of the diode laser. No matter how much smoke's in there, you're not going to see the CO2 laser. And you see it bounce off mirror number 2 from mirror number 1. I'll close this front door. Build some smoke, and then we can see the smoke build up in the back, and then you can see it at the beam combiner. Okay, I upgraded. One of the most important things you're gonna want to do is put in this milliamp meter. That's a must for a CO2 laser. You got to know what you're driving so you don't overdrive the laser tube. I also added some commercial power supplies for the stepper and the diode laser. I haven't cleaned anything up from my install. And I added a Reci power supply for the 80 watt tube. So now we've got some smoke in the back cabin, the laser tube, and you can see the bounce off of it's going through the first laser. It's going through the laser tube itself from the first lens to the first mirror, and then 90 degrees out to the other. And so I highly recommend getting a beam combiner. You know, if you upgrade anything on your laser, you know, that's a very good investment. I mean, I had to tweak it because unless you did a remount, I had to cut the mount off so it would fit because it was too high, because they make it long enough for anybody. So I had to cut the tube off, and that wasn't a big issue, no big deal. But and I had to, if you can see the extension on the mirror number 2, because of the height difference between the old tube and the new tube, that piece of aluminum there that raised it up. I'll open this back up again. Okay, and you can see the sheet metal there. That's an add-on because I had to raise it. And of course it's not cutting. That's how you can tell it's a diode laser, because number 1, you can't see the CO2 laser because it's invisible. But the diode laser, you can still see the path because there's still got smoke in there. And I had to raise the laser head. So as a summary, I'm going to tell you I paid $1,700 for this with shipping. And even though the laser tube lasted 8 hours, I knew it wasn't going to last long, so I obviously wasn't going to fight and aggravate myself over a warranty issue. However, if you're going to buy one of these, keep in mind you got to know something about electricity, because you're going to have issues. You got to be able to ring out a switch if the water flow is not there. Which reminds me, the water flow switches, all that stuff in the back that comes in, that was leaking. You know, you see on all these YouTube videos, people just pop that silicone tubing onto the lasers. You're going to want to use a clamp or use what I use and use some zip ties to hold them on, because trust me when I tell you, they come off once it's under pressure. So you want to zip tie them on. So I disconnected all the alarms, the flow switch that was on the laser. I just used the one that's on the chiller itself now. So you can see this alarm wire that I got coming out, that goes over. If something happens to the chiller, I drop in temperature, or the temperature rises, or water flow stops, it stops my laser tube from running. Which is basically the same thing that came stock with the unit. But you know, you're not going to want to use this thing with a bucket of water unless you live in a very cold climate. Then you get away with it. But I'll give you a quick, here's my invoice. That's the company I got the beam combiner with, and the chiller, and I got the mirrors from them. So like I said, I spent $1,700 on the laser. I spent $625 for the chiller plus shipping, $740, and the laser tube, which is a 10,000 hour tube. And you know, I'm making sure I'm not overdriving it, so I should get quite a few hours out of it. I'm in the process of dropping it in an air-conditioned room, so the humidity should be down. It's fall now here, so I don't really have an issue until spring hits again with humidity. But I'll be ready, and just not to overdrive it, keep the humidity down. A good chiller, and you're good to go. I mean, you got to know, $1,700. I'm used to commercial lasers that cost $250,000 plus. So, you know, $1,700 and even another $1,200 for upgrades. Money well spent. I use this thing all the time. I do a lot of acrylic, cut a lot of acrylic, a lot of wood, etched glass. All in all, good investment for your money, I think. Thank you. Thanks, YouTube.